Welcome back to an episode of the Western Strength Podcast. I have just finished a conditioning piece that I just made up on the spot, and before I did, I made myself a little bit nervous. I can plan anything I want, and I planned something that scares me. As I was in the thick of the training of my conditioning piece, I thought, because I tend to overthink these things, I thought today is just going to be a bit of a Jess training diaries entry. I tend to think about a lot of things when I'm training, whether that's on a run. Not so much strength training. I'm kind of focused on, what I'm really lifting and the heavy side of things, but definitely running and in my conditioning work. The brain really just gets cleared of all its fog, and I tend to be able to have some clear thoughts sometimes. But what I was thinking about today was I'm in week 12 of my marathon training program of 16 weeks. So I have 5 active weeks. No, I have, 4 active weeks left of training, and then it's the marathon week. And I'm just feeling fatigued this week. It is set in, but on one side, I'm a bit fatigued and tired. I'm like, okay, another week, I've got to do 24Ks tomorrow. And then on the other side, I'm surprised that this actually hasn't set in earlier. So I've got as far as 12 weeks and it's kind of really started to set in. This morning and in that session that I just did, I was just thinking about how it's kind of starting to feel a bit like a grind. And I think I need to shift my perspective a little bit and just enjoy the process. I get to this point where I want to I want to do it and I get motivated and excited for it. But then there comes a point, I want to get done and I want to have it done and I just want to be there at that final destination. And I think I will probably miss out on some of the benefits and the fun of it. And I get to do this. I choose to pay the, whatever it is, $200, I think, to, go and run for 4 hours and get really sore feet and have a big struggle mentally. So if I'm putting myself out there in that way, I should probably enjoy this process and just see it for what it is. And it's just week in, week out, I get to progressively overload my running. I get to try and get a little bit faster or improve. And I guess I put a lot of pressure on myself to do the best for me and, to get faster and to do this quicker and to do this harder. And I probably just need to pull back a bit and chill out and just enjoy the journey. Super cliche, but if I want to do these things in the future, if for 16 weeks I'm just stressed out because I have to run at a certain pace, that's not going to be much fun and that's not going to be sustainable. So just a little reminder to check myself, to chill out and just do my best. The other thing I have been thinking about this morning, also before I got into my training, was the concept of failing. So I tend to set a lot of goals for myself, both in personal, in my fitness, and also with the business. And I set these new things and I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and podcast being one of them. And I could do things a lot more consistently, I think, would be something that I could take away from the training that I do week in, week out. I have managed to nail the consistency there, and I need to apply that in other areas of my life. But one of them, when I'm thinking about failing, I know it's good to fail. In a lot of ways, it kind of sucks to fail, but I think that's how you learn and how you grow. I set this goal of sending a weekly email, this was at the end of March, to people who had signed up for our email list at West End Strength, but weren't members with us just yet. And the idea was to share what we have going on in the gym, our values around strength training, our values around conditioning, health and fitness, and just who we are. I feel like I'm really inspired to help others enjoy and realize the benefits that this training has to offer. And although they're not members with us yet or at a different gym, I want to help them see that that's available and accessible. So I wrote this email. I said it in my email. This is my first one of the weekly email. 4 weeks later, 0. Hadn't sent one single email. Now, that's pretty bad. That's really a fail. Just a big fat F for that one. But today I thought to myself, I have two options. Option one, pretend I never sent the original email and I never declared that I was going to send a weekly email, but that's just not in me to just ignore something that I've said. Or two, acknowledge I said it, I failed, and just reset. Reset on that goal and go again. So that's what I've done. This morning I've sent an email acknowledging my failure and set forth on that path of resetting the goal and restarting. So now I have to hold myself accountable and build more consistency in this area. And I don't know if this is useful to you. It's insightful to who I am as a person and the things that I do week in, week out. But maybe there's an area in your life. Maybe you're super consistent with your nutrition, but getting to the gym is not as hard. Or it's the other way around. You're really consistent in getting to the gym, but the nutrition is just like, I just can't. How can you reset? And sometimes I think it's okay to be like, yeah, I failed in that mission. Doesn't mean you don't keep on the mission, but just acknowledging and be like, yeah, I kind of performed really badly in that way. That's okay. This time I attempt to do it, I'm going to do this instead, or I'm going to set this plan up in place, or I'm going to ask for someone to hold me accountable this time around because I know I need someone. So there's many ways, although you might have failed in that point there and then, there's still the potential for you to reach that goal. And the third thing I'm thinking about, let's call it 3 things for Tuesday. Third thing I'm thinking about today is how much better I feel for having done this conditioning session. I haven't been doing a lot of conditioning work. I have been doing my strength, with this program, cycle 2, with Western strength programming, and my 3 runs a week. And I miss the conditioning work. I've really missed it. And I know this sounds super weird, and those who come to Tuesday are probably like, yes, you're very weird, Jess. But I'm smiling in the workout. I was upstairs working on my computer, and I was like, I don't feel like working out. I'm too tired. So came down, put my runners on, put my workout shorts on. I was wearing shorts beforehand. I just changed them. And I just kind of made up an old-fashioned AMRAP. Really simple, try not to have too much load on my legs because I do have a long run tomorrow. And it kind of just adapted over the 30 minutes, increased the calories here, and just loved it. Just a sweat. So my final notes on my board was 30-minute AMRAP, and I got 6 rounds done. A happy face, and a note for one happy human. And as you can tell, the endorphins have kicked in because this is not my natural state to just chat and be smiling like this. So I tend to pick these moments, I guess, to have a chat and to do the WES Strength podcast because it just is at the front of my mind. It just flows more naturally for me, and I've just got to take advantage of what works for me. And yes, once again, I don't have a shirt on because I've just finished a conditioning session. I did start the conditioning session with a shirt on, but I don't like it. It's so free. It's so free. And that's all I have for today. That was a pretty high intensity podcast. So if you have a takeaway from today, great. If you don't, I hope it was at least entertaining and you have a great week. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you on the next podcast. Don't forget to eat your carbs and to fuel your body.